Hey guys, AK James 762. Next installment of my Firearms 101 series. This episode is going to be about terminology and why it is important to use correct terminology. You know, people interchange magazine and clip. That's not correct. And then they're like, oh, you know what I'm talking about. So, well, that's really not the point. Yes, we all know what people are talking about when they say clip. They really mean magazine, generally. But the point is, when you get into firearms, or when you're trying to debate with someone about firearms, for example, it's important to use the correct terminology so you are sounding like you are educated on the subject. So, first, that's what I'm going to talk about. I know I talked about it in a recent video in my Firearms 101 series. I talked about the whole magazine clip thing. Well, I want to go over that again. I'll keep it brief. Basically, a clip is a device that is used to load ammunition into a magazine. A magazine is a device that is used to load ammunition directly into the action of the firearm. For example, this is one of the best examples that I can give you. This is a clip. This is a type of stripper clip for a Mosin Nagant M9130 rifle. This stripper clip holds these 5 rounds together. This part of the rifle here is the magazine. You can't see the entire thing. This little piece sticking out, this is part of the magazine. And this up here is the action. When you open it, you can't tell because it's black on black, but that in there, that long rectangular piece is the follower of the magazine. Very similar to this follower in an AK magazine. So what you do with this stripper clip is you place the clip, there's a groove for it, you place the clip in the groove, and you use your thumb to shove the ammunition down into the internal magazine. Now it's called an internal magazine because it is actually built into the firearm. Just because it's not a detachable magazine, like a detachable box magazine like this AK magazine, or like this magazine here in this handgun, it's still a magazine. This object here is the clip. This object is the magazine. Like I said, a clip feeds ammunition into a magazine. A magazine, however, feeds ammunition into the action. This is a clip. This is a clip. This is a clip. And this is a clip. This is a magazine. It's for a 1911. This is a magazine for an AR-15. This, as you've just seen, is a magazine for an AK. This is a magazine for a Vepr 12 shotgun. It's got a shotgun magazine, pistol magazine, and 2 rifle magazines. And this is the magazine of the Mosin rifle. Okay, now that that's out of the way, next thing I'm going to talk about is the term assault weapon. Every time something happens, some sort of shooting happens, and there's a rifle used, every media outlet and every politician and every anti-gun person and even some pro-gun people use the term assault weapon. Guys, there is no legal definition of the term assault weapon. Assault weapon is a word manufactured by the media. There is no type of firearm called an assault weapon. This is not an assault weapon. This is not an assault weapon. That is not an assault weapon. AK-47 rifle variants are not assault weapons. AR-15 style rifles are not assault weapons. AR and AK style pistols are not assault weapons. M11s are not assault weapons. It's a made-up term. That term does not exist in firearms law. The next term that a lot of media outlets and a lot of people use is assault rifle. I don't own any assault rifles. I don't personally know anyone who does own an assault rifle. An assault rifle is a firearm that fires from a detachable box magazine, such as this, that has a selector switch that you can switch on to either full auto or burst fire. 3, 4, whatever, how many shot burst. The firearms that I have, the rifles I have 2 selections: safe and fire. I don't have any fully automatic firearms, and I don't have any burst firearms. Neither do 90% of the people on the street committing murders and mass shootings and this and that. Their assault rifles are military weapons and police weapons. To own a true, and not an interchangeable term, but a similar term, is machine gun. Machine gun is under the ATF's law. You have to register. You know, it's under the National Firearms Act, under the NFA. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard the term NFA item. You can buy a machine gun, which is either a full auto or a burst fire. Those are technically assault rifles. There's a long process. I'm not going to get into it. There's a long process, but you can actually purchase that type of firearm. But, for example, this is an AK pistol. This is not a machine gun. This is not an assault rifle. Although if this type of firearm were used in some sort of mass shooting, they would probably call this an assault weapon and an assault rifle. Tells you right there. Fire and safe. There's no auto, there's no burst, nothing. It's either fire or safe. This is not an assault rifle or an assault weapon. Which brings me to my next term, semi-automatic. That is what this firearm is. That is what this pistol over here is. Semi-automatic. That means, and I described it in a previous video on how firearms work, of my Firearms 101 series. Please check that video out if you're interested. But basically, a semi-automatic firearm means that each pull of the trigger means the firearm will fire 1 round of ammunition. You can squeeze the trigger and fire 1 round and hold the trigger down until you die. It will not fire again. A machine gun or assault rifle, however, if you have an assault rifle that is a fully automatic machine gun, when you squeeze this trigger, it will continue to fire until the magazine is empty. This one is not like that. You see, I'm continuing to hold the trigger, the hammer has dropped, and it's not going anywhere else. What would happen is it would fire, and the hammer would recock. I have not removed my finger from the trigger. It's still pressed down all the way. And it has not fired again. That's the second shot. That's what semi-automatic means. It means for every round you want to fire, you must pull the trigger that many times. You want to fire 3 times, you have to pull the trigger 3 times. So, most, if not all, of the firearms used in mass shootings, I'm going to use that media term again, such as Columbine, Sandy Hook, the shooting in Orlando, those were not assault rifles, assault weapons, or machine guns. Those were semi-automatic firearms. Every round that was fired from those firearms meant that they pulled the trigger that many times. Okay, the next term is handgun. These two firearms are handguns. This is a revolver, this is a pistol. It's a semi-automatic pistol and a double action, single action revolver. They are both handguns. The pistol and handgun, those two terms, are not interchangeable. I understand, just like the magazine clip thing, a lot of people interchange those terms, but they are really not interchangeable. A pistol is a handgun, but not all handguns are pistols. A revolver is a handgun, but not all handguns are revolvers. A pistol action is a lot different than a revolver action. With a revolver, and I described the way that these two work also in How Do Firearms Work, my Firearms 101 video. If you're interested, please check that video out. A pistol takes a detachable magazine. There's only one chamber in a pistol, and it works. You fire, the slide comes back, goes forward. That's how a pistol works when it's fired. A revolver does not have a detachable magazine. The cylinder acts as a magazine. And revolvers, depending on how many rounds they hold, that's how many chambers they have. This is a 5-shot. This has 5 chambers. Pistol only has 1 chamber. Revolver, this particular one has 5. Every time you squeeze the trigger, the cylinder turns, brings you to the next chamber. Pistol, revolver, both are handguns. The next thing I want to talk about very briefly is long guns. That is a term that's used on the 4473 form. A rifle and a shotgun are both long guns. But not all long guns are rifles. Not all long guns are strictly shotguns. A rifle and a shotgun are both long guns. That's pretty much all I wanted to go over in this video as far as terminology wise. To reiterate in the beginning of the video, I think it's very important when you are speaking to someone about firearms, or you're debating someone, or having a conversation with someone even, when it comes to terminology, because you don't want to sound stupid. To be completely honest, you don't want to sound stupid when you're talking to somebody about a specific topic. Just like if you were talking to someone about cars or car engines or whatever, you don't want to sound stupid, so you want to know what you're talking about, so you want to learn the terminology. But you have to kind of, when the media creates these terms like assault weapon, you have to kind of do the research yourself. I mean, I've always been a proponent of never eat up everything you hear on TV or read on the internet or whatever. Do your independent research and find information so you can make a determination on whether the information that you have read or seen or heard is correct or is logical even. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Like I said, these Firearms 101 videos are geared more towards novices and people who may have never even picked up a firearm before. So hopefully you'll get some information out of my videos if you watch them, and I hope you enjoy them. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice night.